Namaskar. The 13th point is called Supreme Command. It is also an expression of bhava, is an expression of idea, is an expression of ideology, and it is a very concise, simplified version of the path. There are so many rules, there are so many nuances, there are so many subtle details of the path, and many people find it hard to follow all of them. But there has to be maximities and minimities. So if I'm not able to do everything, then I have to be able to do at least something. There has to be a line beyond which I cannot retreat. There has to be like a minimal standard, and then from that minimal standard, which I don't compromise at all, from that minimal standard I try to rise, and I want to reach the maximities of the behavior, of the ideology and everything. So I feel this is very important, and it has been very inspiring for me personally to have that minimal standard and to have that formed as a very precise wording, so that I repeat sometimes, and especially after collective meditation, if I'm with my brothers, practitioners, after we have done collective meditation, we all together repeat some sentences, some words. So I would like to explain those words, those sentences, and so that everyone might understand it. Those who perform sadhana twice a day regularly, the thought of Paramapurusha will certainly arise in their minds at the time of death. This is the first line. Those who perform sadhana twice a day regularly. The moment of death is very important. It is a deciding moment. When we leave, the final thought, which is occurring in our mind, decides our future. When the mind separates from the body, we will see, according to many testimonies of the people who went through the process of dying, who have been clinically dead. So when we die, we will see a short, like a fast rewinding of our life. We will see all the instances, all the situations, again going before our eyes. And all those situations, they will form a certain aftertaste in the mind. They will create a vibration. Either it will be a very high vibration, or it will be lower vibration. According to that frequency, according to that, the final imprint in the mind, they will be reborn, rebirth. If the vibration is very low, it has to find, when we die, after the death, the bodiless mind remains in a state of sleep, deep sleep. And that disembodied mind is in that latent state until a proper base is created in the physical world. Somewhere, either in this planet or on some other planet, the base has been created. The ova and the spermatozoa came together, the seeds of life came together, and the baby has been incepted. So at that point, the vibration, the genes merging together, they create the physical vibration. All those atoms, all those molecules, DNA, RNA, everything of that, they all create a melody. They create a sound. So that sound within the DNA attracts the sound which is there in the mind, in the disembodied mind. And when there is a match, then they get attracted and they merge. So the mind will merge with the body. So if the vibration of the mind is crude, if the thought that I think when I die is of animalistic nature, I want to eat something, I want to enjoy something, I want to drink something. This sort of thought, I have not got enough pleasure, or I'm in the impression of fear. So that final thought is crude. The final impact in the mind, the final vibration of the mind is crude. That vibration will search the embodiment in the crude genes, in the crude body, which is the body of the plant, the body of the insect, the body of the animal, and so on and so on. And if the vibration is very subtle, then also the human body of different level of subtleness. If you have been practicing sadhana sincerely and the thought is of positive nature, then the next body is of very subtle nerves. You will have already spiritual inclinations, and from the next life you are going to continue your sadhana, your spiritual search, and then finally you will meet the goal. So, but if you have done sadhana very well, twice a day, regularly, that has become very important for you, and the search for God, the search for consciousness, has become the primary instinct within you. Then, at the time of death, when you are watching, oh, I'm going to school, I'm going to university, I'm getting job, and your different pictures are passing and passing and passing. And between all of those pictures, I'm meditating, I'm meditating, I'm meditating. You know, there was this belief that 25th, frame in the movie, it creates some psychological impact, but later it was disproved. But anyway, it is a popular belief. So it's just like a 25th frame. You are watching your life and meditating again, 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 again. So cumulative effect of all those impressions of meditation throughout your life makes you think about God, about the Supreme Consciousness at the final moment. You are moving, you are going, you have no fear, you have no desire, you have only one curiosity, you have only one longing. I want to merge with the infinite ocean I have been searching for my entire life. So if you have become like that, then it is said, those who perform sadhana twice a day regularly, the thought of Parampurusha will certainly rise in their minds at the time of death. Their liberation is a sure guarantee. So in that case, if such sublime thought, if maybe there was a noble thought, but not yet that, then you get the human body. But if it is purely thought of consciousness, of God, that the expression of that search, at that moment you cannot take any more physical base. At that moment you lose the individual existence and you merge with the cosmic existence. It's just like a river merges in the ocean. Jatha nadya sandamanam samudrishtam gachanti namarupa vihaya tatha vidvan namorupe dvimuktah parat parampurusha mupayati divyam. As many rivers exist with the different names, but when merging with the ocean, they lose their names, they lose their identity, and they become ocean. So this is the human destiny, whether we know it, whether we accept it or not, but this is the human destiny. The flow of individual consciousness have been flowing through the myriads of evolutionary forms, and then finally that flow of human consciousness touches and merges with the ocean of infinity. And that is our inner longing, that is our inner desire. So their liberation is a sure guarantee. Without Jama and Niyama, sadhana is an impossibility. I may sit for sadhana, but sadhana is not just sitting. Sadhana means a sincere effort. Sadhana means inspiration. When I sit, I strive to achieve the Supreme. Otherwise, if I just sit there, it's not really the sadhana. So how to get that inspiration? That propelling force within my consciousness that pushes me towards that final state. So that is not easy. And that comes only with the following laws of harmony, the rules of Jama Niyama. Ahimsa Satya Asteya Brahmacharya Parigraha Shauch Santosh Tapa Svadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhana. All those principles, when they are inculcated in our existence, then we get that constant urge within us to do sadhana. I do sadhana, I want to merge with the Supreme. And that is considered sadhana. Otherwise, if I just sit and there is no inner desire, that is not really considered to be sadhana. So to do sadhana, to be inspired internally, one must follow the principle of Jama Niyama. Without Jama Niyama, sadhana is an impossibility. Hence, the Lord's command is also to follow Jama Niyama. And before it was saying that, therefore, every Ananda Margi will have to perform sadhana twice a day, invariably, regularly. Every Ananda Margi means the follower of the path of bliss. The nucleus is cosmic, and the nucleus is the cosmological order, and the electronic imperfection moves around the cosmic perfection. So I move around in rounds around the cosmic nucleus, and that nucleus is called Paramapurusha. So that is the order of the Paramapurusha. That is his wish, his drive, his attractive order for me to do sadhana twice a day, invariably, and also to follow Jama and Niyama. And who is Ananda Margi? Marga means path, and Ananda means bliss. So when you are on that path, you are moving here as an electronic imperfection, and there is a nuclear perfection. So from electronic imperfection to nuclear perfection you are moving, and while you are moving, it is the law of this path. As you are through ideation, as you are coming closer and closer, you are experiencing joy and you are experiencing bliss. And you are motivated by that bliss. There are people who are motivated by instincts. There is a fear, there is greed, there is shame, etc. And there are people who are motivated through the higher emotions, and they are motivated with the inspirative impetus. Inspiration pushes me forward. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I long for infinity. And when I am really on the path towards the infinity, I'm feeling the joy within my heart. So therefore, this path connecting the nuclear perfection and electronic imperfection is the path of bliss, or Ananda Marga. And I am the Ananda Margi. I am the walker of the path of bliss. So I am the enjoyer of the Ananda, and I am moving towards that nucleus. So therefore, every Ananda Margi have to do sadhana twice a day invariably, and need to follow Jama Niyama. This is also the command of the Lord. Disobedience to this command, the soul is calling you. The soul is calling you. The consciousness is calling you. Come, come. But you disobedience. You disobey it. You remain inert. Or you, out of fear, you are not following that destiny that you have. You know, many people, they had a calling within, but then they thought, oh, you know, if I do that, maybe I won't get enough money, maybe I won't get enough respect, and better I don't do. So this is like a betrayal of the soul. The soul is calling, the consciousness is calling. You move, you must move ahead. So disobedience to refuse the call of consciousness, not to do sadhana, and not to follow Dhamma Niyama, is nothing but to throw oneself into the tortures of animal lives for crores of years. In Indian language, they use this word crore, means 10 million years. So it's a little bit harsh, and many people, they feel reacted with this particular phrase. But if you analyze, actually human life is something very, very precious and extremely dangerous. Maybe you have seen my video about jealousy, and I'm talking about that. It's the higher you rise, the more dangerous it becomes, because the mind acquires the power, it acquires the speed. And as human beings, I mean, how much does the animal progress in life? How much can it learn? And how much a human being can accomplish? So a human being, even 1 year of sadhana, it elevates you so much. It's just like several lives of progress. And if I am sincere, if I am pushing ahead, always developing, how much can I progress? From animal to human, from human to superhuman, from superhuman to divine, I can bridge that gap within maybe 20, 30, 40 years. Isn't it so? And if I can progress that much, can I not also degrade that much? It's, for example, I'm a businessman. I'm dealing with the billions. When I'm in that position of strong cash flow, it's okay for me. It's everyday business. I'm 3 million there, 5 million there, isn't it? But if I lose everything, and then I have the salary of $2,000 per month, then, for example, if I lose everything, and if I go deep in debt, and I go minus $500 million, then with the salary of $2,000 per month, how many years I have to pay back? So with the developed human mind, which has a lot of power, which has a lot of speed, with that mind, if I do mistakes, which affects many people, which affects my status, creates a certain samskara, the distortion within my mind, then to restore, and if I lose that state of human speed and status, and if I come back to the animal state, to come back there, it is easy. Just make the crude vibration in the mind. When you die, all the misdeeds come out, and they create. You can analyze yourself. For example, when you are lying, just listen to your body. Or if you are harming somebody, listen to your body. They are not pretty emotions. It's a crude emotion. It is agitated state. It's not human. It's close to animal state of mind. You become, from the human status, come down to the animalistic stance. And if there are many instances of that deviation from the path of humanity, crossing the laws of nature, then at the moment of death, all those things, they sum up, and you get the final state of the mind is a crude vibration. And then it merges with the animal body, merges with the plant body. And from there, the evolution takes many thousands and even millions of years. It depends how low you can go. But some creatures, they can go very low. The people who have destroyed many others' lives, who have exploited the nature, who have exploited the humanity, who have been merciless bloodsuckers of the humanity, those who have not followed the path of humanity, then they create such a samskara, such a distortion of the mind, that coming back from that state, it requires many consequent lives, you know, of animal or whatever existence. And that is like a torment of animal life, because once we tasted the nectar of human lives, is not really the good thing to be a plant or an animal. So there is a warning. Disobedience to this command means not to do sadhana. If you're not doing sadhana, there might be the low, the depraving thoughts taking hold in your mind, and then the mind will go down. And if you're not following Dhamma Niyama, the morality principles, the path of humanity, then it is quite a big probability that the mind will degenerate, and then from that degeneration it takes many thousands and millions of years to come back to the same status. So that no one should undergo torment such as this, that everyone might be enabled to enjoy eternal blessedness under the loving shelter of the Lord, of the Paramapurusha, of the cosmic consciousness. It is the bounden duty of every Ananda Margi, the one who follows, the one who sees clearly, the one who experiences that inspiration. It is the bounden duty of every Ananda Margi, the follower of the path of bliss, to endeavor to bring all to the path of bliss. So it is our duty, it is our compassion. Actually, this Supreme Command, there is no fear that any one of us is going to fall, because we are inspired with Dhamma Niyama, we are inspired with meditation. But how about the people who have not been aware of the way of life, of the proper way of life? So there has to be compassion, there has to be concern also, so that no one should undergo torment such as this, that everyone might be enabled to enjoy eternal blessedness under the loving shelter of the Lord. It is the bounden duty of every Ananda Margi to endeavor to bring all to the path of bliss. Verily, it is the part and parcel of sadhana, the spiritual practice, to lead others along the path of righteousness. It is such a beautiful message, actually. It has all the necessary understandings. In life, we must follow moral principles. We must be moral. In life, we must do sadhana to strive to better ourselves. In life, we must care for others and lead them, endeavor to lead all, endeavor to lead entire humanity, not only humanity, the entire living world, along the path of progress, along the path of righteousness, and along the path of beatitude. So this is a beautiful message. And uncompromising strictness and faith regarding the sanctity of Supreme Command is the 13th principle of 16 points. And I hope you can understand, and maybe we can have discussion, for sure. Maybe questions are there, so we can talk in the comments under this video. But most of it, I think, is very, very clear. If you think yourself, if you analyze logically, it is like that. And philosophically, if you understand the philosophy, it is like that. And if you observe different examples of elevation and different examples of degeneration, which is caused by human actions and thoughts and ways of behavior, then I think you can understand what is in the content of this Supreme Command. Thank you very much. Namaskar.